Hello and welcome to my presentation for the final project for Educational Technology 6010. My name is Kristen Cochran and I teach 6th grade ELA. And our unit that I am focusing on is a writing unit, and we're really focusing on the organization and citing of text evidence in writing. So just a little bit of background about my learners. I teach 4 sections of ELA in a hybrid model this year, and our students are all general education students. There are 23% with IEPs or 504s, and 25% are ELLs. A lot of those overlap. The students, again, are 11 to 12 years old since they're in 6th grade, and our school is almost 50% qualified for free and reduced lunch. So there are a lot of haves and have-nots in our district. For the task specific background information, we took some pre-assessments that established that only about 20% of our students were able to appropriately reference specific text evidence from a text and use it in their written work. And about 20% as well were able to formulate a clear introductory statement, where only 10% were really able to formulate a clear conclusion statement. So this was a real area of need for our students. So I co-teach with a really awesome ELL teacher and a really awesome special ed teacher. And we decided that for this unit, we were going to focus on the Common Core state standards for writing 6.2b, writing 6.2f, and writing 6.2a. And basically those are being able to provide concrete details and quotations, citations in our texts, in our writing, providing a conclusion statement that summarizes their main idea well, and then organization within the writing. So our objective, number 1, was the student will be able to provide a clear introductory statement in their final paragraph with 100% accuracy. Objective number 2, the student will be able to provide 2 logical and relevant supporting details, which are direct quotes from their school textbook to support their introductory claim in their final paragraph with 100% accuracy. And finally, the students will be able to provide a clear conclusion statement with 100% accuracy. So I decided to use Gagne's 9 events of instruction because I felt like this really mirrored the type of writing strategy that we wanted to use as teachers, because it kind of embeds feedback and formative feedback throughout the process and allows the students to rewrite and go back and revise their work before being evaluated at the end. And we are always really trying to emphasize that with our students, that writing is a process and not just a one and done kind of thing where you write something and then you turn it in and you think that's all you have to do with it. So of course we're going through the 9 steps of gaining attention, informing learners of the objectives, simulating recall of prior knowledge, presenting stimulus, providing guidance, eliciting performance, providing feedback, assessing the performance, and then finally enhancing the retention by transferring their knowledge to another project. The main technology tool that we utilized for this unit was Google Docs, because it takes it from just a simple word processing capability to something that allows for collaboration. This year, especially since we are hybrid, and we are actually right now not sure we're going to be going back into the classroom starting on Monday, we really wanted to be able to collaborate with not only the students to give feedback, but also with my co-teachers. So my co-teachers and I were really concerned about being able to collaborate and look at student work and decide how we were going to grade things. So we're not only able to give feedback, oral feedback as well with Notebook to our students, but we are also able to do that amongst the teachers. And this is also how they're going to be, the students are submitting their writing and getting the constant feedback on their product so that they can modify it and change it before they turn in, quote unquote, a final paper. Additional technology tools that we are using a Google Jamboard, which is going to be used as a virtual Post-it note board where we can visually brainstorm as a class and organize our ideas. Play Pause It, which has been really essential for us this year, where we're kind of using it to flip our learning a bit. And they will have a little lesson on citations that they are going to be doing at home. And then Notebook, again, is how we are going to be giving comments. So we're not only going to be typing comments in the comment section of Google Docs, and we're not only going to be suggesting in suggestion mode how they can modify or change or revise their writing, but they can also listen to our voice in the comment section so that those students who would normally struggle to read the feedback and understand it will be able to do so in a much more natural way for them, because they'll be able to hear their teachers' voices talking them through their product. So our day-to-day description, basically the first day is our introduction day, where we are going to introduce the performance task, which is what PT means. We're going to go over the objectives, but they'll be in kid-friendly language. And then we're going to do our fun Jamboard brainstorming activity, which is going to really simulate the recall of background knowledge. And we are going to come up with a top 5 list of qualities that people and animals share, because that's the topic for our performance task, as a class, so that the students have the list of 5 qualities in front of them, and they can choose 2 of them to discuss in their paper, and they don't have to go through the brainstorming process alone. Day 2 will begin the writing process, and we will give them their graphic organizers through our learning management system, and they will again be a Google Doc. And we will also show them how we're starting to fill things out and kind of lead the whole class in a bit of an introductory how to write this paragraph lesson. And then they are going to start writing, and we are going to be circulating constantly, giving feedback and helping them use their online textbook to find quotes, etc., etc. And finally, the students will be assigned the Play Pause It for citing text evidence that evening, so that they will go home, watch the Play Pause It, interact with the Play Pause It, and hopefully come back with that knowledge that we can then fine tune on day 3. And day 3 is going to be finishing up looking for text evidence, finishing up with the graphic organizer. And then once that is done and the teachers have reviewed it with those students, which is right here, teacher feedback, they are going to start creating their final paragraphs, which is in that same Google Doc, but below the graphic organizer. And finally, day 4 and 5. Students are going to be reviewing feedback from their teachers once they've created their final paragraph, and then they are going to make final revisions and submit their paper on day 4. And day 5 is going to be, so we actually did this up to day 4 last week, and now we are going to be doing day 5 next week, because they're given a performance-based assessment by the district in which they will have to do all of these skills that we have just done in days 1 through 4. And the students will be given their PBA essay assignment, and then they're going to use a graphic organizer that looks similar to what we have given them for the performance task to apply their knowledge and transfer it to another subject. And they will have to still organize using an introductory sentence, at least 2 quotes from the text, and a conclusion sentence, but it will be on, again, a different subject. So for differentiation, we are going to be able to support our students that are struggling with sentence starters. The graphic organizer is provided to everyone, but we are going to be able to supplement that graphic organizer with more intense sentence starters and a lot more feedback if the students are finding that they need it. And that goes back to that technology tool of Google Docs. It allows us to make those suggestions and give them comments and voice feedback in real time. And that kind of covers that differentiation there. And for extensions, We can increase. We did find that some of our students got through the graphic organizer quicker than others, but then we challenged the students to add a quote that kind of supplemented the quote that they had already found and provide additional information for that quote and explanation. And it ended up that some of those students ended up writing 2 paragraphs instead of 1 because it just worked out better for their flow of information. We can also, again, provide the voice comments for those students who need more of that explanation and provide examples using suggestion mode. And for adaptive technology, we have 3 or 4 students that would prefer not to type, but like to use Dragon Speak to assist them from transferring their thoughts into text. And so this would be great for students who struggle with fine motor skills, which is one of the students that prefers Dragon Speak. And then also just students who really struggle with like spelling or the ability to transfer their thoughts into writing, which is our other 2 students. And that is a super helpful tech adaptation that we have found useful for this project. So these are the handouts here. This is technically not a handout, but the students were all interacting with this. We're not really allowed to give handouts this year. So the students were interacting with this. This is from our 5th, 6th block class that we had the main question, what qualities do humans and animals share, in the center. And then the students were putting sticky notes all over the board, and we were able to arrange them by the text that they came from, the qualities, and where. So if, for example, a student decided to choose that both humans and animals can be courageous, they would know that they could find text evidence in Hachiko, which is a short story, and in Reading Buddies if they wanted to look there, and so forth. So this was a really nice visual way for us to use the board as a brainstorming tool for our students. Student handout number 2 is the graphic organizer that we provided our students on Google Docs. And you can see that here, some students just needed the boxes, and then some students needed the actual sentence starters. And so that was kind of one of our modifications. And here are 2 student artifacts that one was a more advanced piece of writing, and one was a little bit less advanced, but we just selected these randomly from our classes as examples. And then my resource for the unit is linked on the slide here, but I'm not going to go into that because I'm already getting over time. And then for conceptual categorization, this is augmentation, because instead of being, again, a simple word processing tool, it's a collaboration tool, and it allows for real-time feedback, verbal feedback. We can help modify the assignment as we find necessary, etc. How we are going to be evaluating the students' learning will be first the formative assessments during the revision process, the summative assessment of both the performance task, which is the end product for this, that we've already achieved, and then the PBA at the end of the whole unit. And then how the unit was going. We are big into Google Forms, and so we are going to give a survey for our students to see how they felt this unit went. And finally, here are my references. So thank you for listening to my presentation. Have a great day.